What video game reveals will host Jeff Keighley have a hand in this year? Ever since the digital showcase made its debut in 2020, the Summer Games Fest has acted as an alternative venue for publishers looking to escape the boundaries set by the ESA. And with E3 2022 cancelled, we're anticipating that many leading developers will use Summer Game Fest 2022 as an opportunity to show the world what they've been working on. The Summer Game Fest 2022 showcase is set to take place on June 9th. The first event, held before we launch into the Tribeca Games Spotlight on June 10th, the Future Games Show on June 11th, and the Xbox Bethesda Games Showcase on June 12th. You can get more information on timings in our E3 2022 schedule at GamesRadar.com. What games will be revealed at the Summer Game Fest 2022? Well, that's half the fun, isn't it? When Bandai Namco opted to use last year's event to showcase the world's first look at Elden Ring gameplay, it signaled that really anything was possible. Now, with that all said, I wouldn't come into Summer Game Fest expecting any details on GTA 6, that's still a little ways away. Instead, we're going to place our bets on 6 big Summer Games Fest 2022 reveals that feel reasonable. Let the summer of hype begin. We're just weeks away from the traditional E3 period, and Ubisoft is still yet to announce a Ubisoft Forward of its own. It feels unlikely that the publisher would let June pass it by without any kind of announcement or reveal though, so I'm putting my money on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora getting its time to shine at the Summer Game Fest 2022. It just makes sense. Jeff Keighley loves to bring figures from wider pop culture into his orbit, so I wouldn't be surprised if director James Cameron was brought out on stage to introduce Frontiers of Pandora before giving us a little spiel on his new movie, Avatar: The Way of the Water. The Division's developer Massive Entertainment has been working on its Avatar game for 5 years, and we've seen precious little of it. Given that Ubisoft maintains Frontiers of Pandora will release before March 2023, it seems only natural that the development team would follow up on its in-engine game reveal from last E3 with a first look at the open-world adventure in action. A new Bioshock game was revealed back in 2019, and there have been few details since. Developer Cloud Chamber Studio was formed by 2K to build a new installment to the famed first-person shooter series, and when we spoke to studio head Kelly Gilmore, she would only tease what the team is up to, saying, "Bioshock defined what is a compelling narrative and immersive world can bring to a video game. Players interact with it in their own unique ways and have unforgettable experiences. That will remain at the core of our design vision for the next Bioshock, and we have a myriad of ideas on how best to achieve it." Now, with that all said, rumours are continuing to suggest that Bioshock 4 will be set in an open-world Antarctic city trapped in the 1960s, and we are desperate to see what Cloud Chamber is cooking up. And given that it's been close to a decade since the release of Bioshock Infinite, expectations are running sky high. A full Bioshock 4 reveal feels long overdue, and if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be at the Summer Games Fest. 2022 is going to be a huge year for Call of Duty. It has to be, with Activision struggling to retain players between Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard, and after Warzone languished between 2 messy era transitions, the publisher will want to use the largest platform of the summer as an opportunity to reset expectation. For starters, we know the core Call of Duty installment for 2022 will be Modern Warfare 2. Infinity Ward has been hard at work on the sequel since it shipped its transformative Modern Warfare reboot in 2019, alongside a brand new engine. With Modern Warfare expected to launch this November, it wouldn't be out of character for Activision to reveal a trailer in early June, and then follow that with campaign footage reveal at the Summer Game Fest. Additionally, we know that Warzone 2 is in production, and that we should expect a, quote, massive evolution of Battle Royale with all new play space and a new sandbox mode. Could both games appear at the Summer Game Fest 2022? Well, unless Activision is saving one for a future PS5 State of Play, it really does feel possible that we'll see it soon. Reports have indicated that Dead Island 2 will launch before March 2023, which gives developer Dambuster Studios a relatively small window of time to reset the conversation around this long-awaited co-op shooter. Dead Island 2 has, after all, had a messy development cycle. It started life under Jaeger and got far enough through production that a demo was made available to the press in 2014. While that first look was promising, publisher Deep Silver ultimately decided to go in a different direction. Jaeger was dropped from the project in 2015, Sumo Digital took control of the game in 2016, and in 2019 development was handed over to the Homefront The Revolution developer Dambuster. But Dead Island 2 is set to emerge from its development hell this year, and Summer Games Fest feels like the perfect stage for it. Jeff Keighley has a tendency to mix gameplay presentations with short on-stage developer interviews, and given that Dead Island 2 has been in production for over 8 years, that could be the perfect 1-2 punch to remind the world of this series' appeal. Given the success of the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes, perhaps it's no surprise that Capcom would be looking to give one of the most important and iconic action games of the last 2 decades another chance to shine. So with that all-important context out of the way, let's jump into some untethered speculation. Unless Capcom has entered into some type of publishing agreement with Xbox, the Summer Games Fest feels like a natural home for the long-awaited reveal. Now, one reason so many are eagerly anticipating this Resident Evil 4 remake is that rumors point to it being a generous reimagining, a game that doesn't merely retread the ground that Leon S. Kennedy walked in 2005, but a survival horror experience with the power to scare and impress us all over again. Given the quality of Capcom's previous efforts here, with the RE engine continuing to deliver truly stunning results, expectations are running sky high. Here's hoping the Resident Evil 4 remake finally shuffles into the light at the Summer Games Fest. Hey, do you remember Alien Isolation? 8 years old but never forgotten, Alien Isolation set a new benchmark for horror, shooters, and artificial intelligence back in 2014, and we've been eagerly awaiting a new game from that team ever since. Will this be the year that the FPS team at Creative Assembly finally breaks cover and shows us what it's been working on since 2018? It better be. Creative Assembly has said its new sci-fi shooter will be, quote, an ambitious multiplayer title with a fresh take on the FPS genre that will allow players to embrace a variety of creative playstyles. And it's offered very little other information. The studio sparked excitement last year when it teased the first screenshot from the game, sparking hopes it would be at E3 2021, which sadly never came to be. Still, I have a good feeling about the new Creative Assembly shooter and Summer Games Fest. We've been waiting long enough, Sega. It's time to get this game out into the world. For all the reveals, game announcements, and more from the Summer Games Fest 2022, be sure to stay tuned to GamesRadar.